Hey there.
Hello, how are you?
Okay. I'm fine. I'm fine. Are you the
I'm
library
the
rep?
librarian. Yeah, I'm the
All
library
right.
representative from Charlotte Mecklenburg Library. Yeah,
Okay. I'm
how are
Eric
you?
Overcash. I'm fine.
Nice to
I'm
meet you,
Eric
Eric.
Overcash. Yeah. So no, I don't see anybody on yet. I'm supposed to have a moderator, but I don't see them online yet.
Okay, yeah, I see two folks that are there for score, but I don't see another person.
I'm here.
Oh,
So,
okay. Hello.
Who's here? Is that Joe?
it's me. Yes.
Hey, Joe. I just don't see you.
How about now?
No, it's still the score logo.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, I had a hard time
Aha.
getting. I had a hard time. There you are. Hey, Joe.
Eureka.
Hey, Eric. Hi.
Very good.
Christy, you go by Christy Buchanan Wellman, or how would you like to be introduced?
Christy Buchanan Wellman is just fine. Or you can just say Christy Wellman if that's too long.
So I don't see anybody on yet, Joe. Do you?
No.
Okay. All
Christy, how
right.
long have you been
So
with the library?
Um, since 1997?
Oh, wow. When you said 19, wow. Wow.
Yes. Yeah,
Very,
19, that's a big one, right? No 20.
wow.
Yeah,
Very
been a
good.
little bit.
So you've been through this drill before, right? You've done this a couple of
Yes,
times.
sir. Yeah, we've done it a few times. I have an info packet of library resources that I share at the end. I just put it in the chat window. So, I'll do the highlights, but folks will get a copy of my slides plus brochures and handouts for the library resources, so they won't be having to struggle writing everything down. They'll have access to that. And I'll differentiate between resources that are accessible from any library in the state versus what's just exclusively a Charlotte Mecklenburg Library exclusive.
Okay.
I remember that portion. Yes.
Yeah.
So usually I've most of the time I've worked with Stephanie when she's been on a lot of these calls. So good. I'll do the intro. I'll welcome people and all that. I'll introduce both you and Eric. And Eric
Thank you,
will pick
Joe.
it up. And I'll do the quick intro on score, and then Eric will start with the actual presentation of simple,
Yeah,
right?
I got the deck. Strangely, I think I got the last time I did the presenter, I had the deck from the second simple steps 2 and 3 because I had a lot of marketing and financial and had a lot of blank sheets in it. And even the gentleman from the library says, I've never seen this one before. So I have the correct deck, the one that we use all the time. So I'm good. I'm good to go. So I still don't see anybody yet.
No, it's one person there. Bruce. Hello, Bruce.
I don't see anybody at all. Oh, participants. There you go. There, Bruce. Yes. Uh, Good afternoon, Linda. So Joe, we have them on mute, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We've got Linda Dickens, coach as well. So welcome.
So, Joe, I had two conversations this morning with two mentees,
Yeah.
and so that's pretty much what I do, just two a day, sometimes three. And I was lucky that they both showed up.
Oh, good. Yeah, I was supposed to meet somebody in person the other day and they didn't show, so I'm not
Oh.
happy.
How often do you meet in person?
I tried it almost every time. I prefer to do it in person. I think I get a lot
Ah.
more done.
Interesting. I know you advocate, and I hope we can do another live session at one of the libraries. That'd be really good to have.
So, Eric, you're going to share the screen, right?
Yeah, I'll share the screen. Yeah, I have the deck open on my tab here.
Then maybe you can go to the slide that says,
Welcome.
yes, simple steps. Session 1. Great. I think it's the. That's the. I think it's the first. Is it the first one?
I'll pull it up right now.
The first one.
Simple steps for starting your business. Session 1.
Yeah. So I'm going to do the first 3 slides through SCORE, and then you take over where it says startup basics. Are you ready? Cool.
4 slides.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand. Okay, Joe, that's a good idea. I like that. All right, 24. Okay, we got another 6 minutes to go. And I'm going to.
Hey, Bruce and Linda, welcome. I was wondering, can you hear us okay? Can you see us okay? Please go in the chat box and maybe just give us a quick acknowledgement, and also maybe a quick summary of what your business is. Do you already have a business? Is it a business concept or an idea? And just put that in the chat box. Thank you. Christy, we did an in-person session last year in Pineville. That was really
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun.
That's a nice location. They just opened that recently.
Great location, and that little conference room that they have. The presentation was perfect. We had about 25 people, and it was very interactive. It's a lot easier to engage people when you have them in front of you.
Indeed, you're right.
Okay, we also have Lee McNair twice.
Twice.
So again, folks, our guests today, Bruce, Linda, and Lee, if you can just go into the chat box and just give me a quick description of what your business is, if you have an idea, if your concept, if you already are in business, and what's the nature of your business. That will allow Eric to kind of circle back to you later on, maybe with some specific points. It's 12:25. We have another 5 minutes till 12:30. So get a cup of coffee or water or something.
So, Christy, what branch do you work in?
The Independence Regional Library. Yeah, so it's right across from East Mecklenburg High School on Monroe Road. Yeah.
My closest Charlotte library is the one on East Boulevard, which is an early voting spot.
Yes, we are too. That's one of the reasons why it would be challenging for us to do this program in person. because we're an early voting site, we only have one community room and we have a lot of
Mm.
teens who come in the afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a lot of overlap with other departments. It makes it challenging, but I hope at some point in the future, maybe we could,
Yeah.
where the stars will align and we can do something in person again.
In person is really good. I see Ed has joined us. Welcome, Ed. If you could type in the chat box if you have an existing business, what that kind of business that is. All right. Repair and installation of window coverage. Good description. Joe, who's the moderator, and myself will be talking about how we can help everybody on participants, all the participants here. Joe, we have another person that just dropped in. Ed?
Yeah. A tenant. Only one Lee. Lee cut himself in half. It's only one contact now.
Yeah.
So again, for all of you who signed in, our attendees today, we've got 4, Bruce, Linda, Lee, and Ed so far. This is simple steps for starting your own business. This is sort of a crash course on what it takes to start your business, things that you have to consider, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I mean, a lot of interesting points. If you're not in business yet, it's something to think about. If you are in business, and you can probably relate to some of the points that Eric's making, but just as a ground rule here today, if you have any questions at any point in time, put those in the chat box. I'll relay it to Eric. Eric will look at it too, and he'll at some point in time respond to everything. As far as slides, we have a bunch of slides, some with a lot of information. Don't be worried about it. You'll be getting a copy of the entire presentation tomorrow via email. Okay.
And Joe, I'll share the screen and then you can just go off on the first floor.
Correct.
Okay.
Good.
All right. 29. Let's give them another minute. Someone might pop in.
Eric, and you're going to share your screen, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Here, let me start it up now.
Okay. We've got Kwesi Kanza and Javes Ellis joined us too. Welcome.
So can you see the slide deck, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me clean it up a little bit here.
Yeah, go back to the first one. Yep. That one.
Oh, yes. Yes. There we go.
Okay, it's 12:30. We'll give it a couple more minutes here. I understand it's lunchtime here, and we're on a tight schedule today. Welcome, Betty, Kwesi, Javes, again, Ed, and Ebony Hayes here. So people are still filing in. Again, a quick favor, please go into the chat box and give us a quick summary of who you are. Are you in business already? If not, what's your business idea, your concept? And just put that in the chat box. Lee, thank you. Lee's researching a vending or cash-based business. Okay.
Oh.
Thank you for sharing that.
Okay, Joe. Why don't we begin?
Good. All right. Again, thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We've got a good group of people here joining us today. I'm Joe Warner. I've been a longtime mentor and presenter and coach with SCORE. Happy to also introduce Eric Overcash, who's actually going to do the presentation today. If you logged in and you want to make sure you're in the right place, this is Simple Steps for Starting Your Business. This is an hour or so presentation on to start a business, things to look out for, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm also very pleased to have Christy Buchanan-Wellman from the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Library here today. At 1:30 or so, about an hour into it, she'll give you a presentation on the many capabilities and the benefits of joining the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Library. Some great tools in terms of defining your market, look at competition, looking at demographics for your target audience and things. Great things. So I encourage you to stay on for that as well. Just as a reminder, you're going to see a lot of charts today. Don't worry about it. Take notes, whatever you want to do, but you're going to get a full set of the presentation slides tomorrow. Okay. Any questions you have on this, feel free to pop it into the chat box, and we'll get to it at any point in time. Okay. Other than that, we don't have any ground rules. Ask away as far as questions. We'd love to make it as interactive as possible. And with all that, let me just give you a 30-second commercial on SCORE. So SCORE is a national nonprofit organization that supports small businesses, okay, and people who are thinking about starting a small business. We are nationwide. We have Eric and I operate out of the chapter in Charlotte. We have about 80 mentors. A lot of them are retired. A number of them are still working or teaching or coaching. These are all people that have been business owners, have been business executives or professionals. And what we offer is essentially a wide mix of educational programs, webinars, best practice sessions. We also reach out in the community. We have monthly events in different parts of town where we meet mentors and mentees, meet each other, talk about what SCORE has to offer. And of course, if you like the presentation and you feel you're stuck in your current business, or if you are not really sure how to get started, then getting a mentor through the SCORE organization might be exactly what you need. Okay, that is very easy to do. You just go to score.org, get score.org, and put in your zip code or your regional, you find your regional chapter, which in this case would be Charlotte, and you can sign in, and very easy to navigate and apply for a mentor. Free of charge. There's no cost to you at all for getting a mentor. This is something one-on-one with experienced people who can help you navigate through the challenges of starting and running a business. Okay, so much for my commercial. Let me hand it over to Eric Overcash.
Well, thank you, Joe. Today we are going to go through the slide deck, which is going to touch on all the basics of how to start a business. This is kind of the main subject matters that we'll be touching upon. We'll first start with the basics, start up the base, and then we have a second session, Simple Steps 2, that goes into brand concept and marketing. And we actually have a third Simple Steps, session 3, that's financial matters and funding. Today, these are the highlights of the slide deck that we're going to touch upon. All right, the benefits. Viewing this and figuring out how to start your business if you have an idea, or if you have a ongoing business already. Some of the benefits that you'll acquire from this workshop: it helps you develop your feasibility plan, how to start, when to start, what's it going to take to start up. It takes you through the decision-making process of starting the business. It provides you with information so that you get to a point where, is this going to be an idea that I want to pursue? Because remember, starting a business is very time consuming. I always tell my mentees, you need to have commitment and you need to stay focused. Has the core information to complete a business plan? Well, we'll talk about that later in the slide deck. Okay, let's start with the myths. These are very common myths that we all hear about starting a small business. You won't have to work so hard. Depends on what kind of hours you work right now. I mean, if you work a 40-hour, 50-hour job, if you're going to start a business and continue working your main job, which is a smart thing to do because you have to continue to have income coming in, you will have to allocate hours after work to start your business. On top of that, you have your own life. So even if you get to the point where you execute and you start your own business, it's a lot of hours. Stay focused, stay commitment. My product or service is unique. There is no competition. Well, if you have a business already, you can look around to see what your competition is, which is what we'll talk about later in this. Everyone's business is unique in the respect that you are doing it. You put your stamp of approval on it, but the product or service that you're selling has probably already exists in the current market or has been at some point in the past. Business owners can deduct everything so you won't have to pay taxes. Well, I'll let your accountant talk to you about that. But if you're earning income, you have to declare that income somehow. Whatever tax situation you're in, you do have to declare that income, and you do have to pay the appropriate taxes on that income. As a business owner, you won't have a boss. Well, that's true. You are the guy, the person, the woman on the spot, but I relate this back to my professional experiences in which I was an institutional salesperson for a large corporate entity. And as a salesperson, I really didn't have a boss. I mean, I had a person I had to directly relate to, but my bosses were my customers. My customers. You're going to find if you get into your business and you're selling a product or a service, your customers are pretty much going to advise you or guide you in your activities on a daily basis. And the last one, business owners get to do whatever they want to do. If owning your own business and driving your own business is doing what you want to do, then fine, you're there. But it's not the myth is that I work at my small business for 40 hours a week or 30 hours a week, and then I can just go do other things. No, your small business, especially in the very beginning, is a 24-hour-a-day commitment. Okay, this is as you can see, the failure rate is 50-50. And this is kind of older. I think this failure rate is a little bit higher. And yeah, that's just what it is. Do you have what it takes? Okay, key critical successful factors. What experience do you have in this field? Do you have any? And then the main strong work ethic, time management, ability to multitask. All these are very, very important aspects to have in order to be a success at your small business. You have to initiate all of them. The one at the bottom, adequate capital, it depends on what kind of business you're going to start. That's set by your own individual idea of what it is you're going to start. And so therefore, the financial resources. I mentor probably 25 people right now, and most of them don't require any financial consideration up front because they're just starting out. They have to acquire perhaps a software, but it all depends on how you're going to start your business, and we will talk about that later. But in a normal sense, you have to consider what kind of tools and equipment you have to buy. What's going to set my business up? Are you going to be a brick and mortar, or are you going to work out of your house? Of course, you have to abide by any licenses and permits and professional fees. And if you're selling a product, you probably have to have an initial inventory, which will be an outlay of capital. And most importantly, I stress this a lot, is once you get going, it's a really wise idea to allocate some funds to an emergency fund. All right. So on a personal basis, if you're married or in a committed relationship, you do need to have the agreement of your significant other to start this business. And it's nice that you can be able to talk with someone that you know very well about starting this business. It really helps. You have to take into account, are you going to continue working? Because you do have monthly costs that you have to overcome to pay your mortgage, to pay your rent, whatever it is. If you're going to start a business and you have to look at your debt load that you have right now. If it's a lot of debt, then that's just additional cost to you every month. It's a benefit if you can decrease that debt load that you have. Amount of savings, that goes to what I said before. The savings either go into executing your new business, or they go into a potential reserve fund. All right, let's talk about your options on how to start a business. Starting a new business. As I said, I have 24 mentees. They all start from scratch, every one of them. The advantages, as you can see here, you can choose your location. You can choose the type of business. You can choose what you want to sell, either a product or services. And you can explore new markets that you might not see being serviced by your new business. This is a great path. If you can find a market that's not being serviced by the business that you want to start, that's a fantastic advantage. Unfortunately, you have no customers. You need customers to be successful. You're taking a bigger risk because if you are investing your own money, that's at risk of losing it if your business does not work out. And no track record. This comes into play if you're looking for funding. Most funding organizations or entities will fund only existing businesses because they're taking a risk. If you're just starting this business and you're asking for capital to start this business, it's a high risk for anybody that wants to advance you funding. So the second way of starting the business is by an existing business. This we're all very familiar with. I'm sure we've probably seen this all over the place. You're buying an established clientele. Your patient. You can review their financial documents to see, are they making money or are they not making money? They have a track record. So it's just stepping in and taking over that business and running it. Well, the disadvantages, you never know what you're going to find. You really don't. You may think you've done your due diligence, and you probably have done your due diligence, but on the first day, you might discover stuff that was not revealed. Does it have a good reputation? Is the inventory obsolete? You employee issues, no guarantee of success. These are all issues that, as a brand new business owner buying an existing business, takes on as the responsibilities of running that business. And these are the risks. They are just some of the risks that you will experience by an existing business. Buy a franchise. Oh yeah, let's go out and buy a McDonald's franchise. You're buying into a proven system, a proven product, a proven service, a proven pricing. You have a tremendous marketing program behind you. You're well known, and the biggest thing is name recognition. You are in partnership with the person you're buying the franchise from. So therefore, it limits your freedom as to what you can do as a individual owner of that franchise. They might declare you can only do certain things within this franchise. You got to pay. Yes, whatever that is, you got to pay. So every dollar that comes in the door is not yours. You got to pay. And buying a franchise will bind you to this franchise for a certain period of time. Okay, the next one is home-based or remote businesses. This is very popular post pandemic. You start a business, whatever it is, selling a service, or it's probably easier to sell a service in a home base than sell a product. When you sell a product, you have to think about inventory and where to store inventory. But starting a home-based business, it's convenient. There's definitely less overhead because you're there in your house or in your apartment. It does allow you to have a more flexible schedule as to when you apply yourself to the business. There are tax advantages. I'm not going to tell you what those are because I'm not an accountant, but talk to your accountant. There are tax advantages to starting a business in your house. Hire people anywhere in the U.S. or world. If your business gets large enough that you need employees, that's absolutely correct. Zoning restrictions. Well, I don't know specifically about zoning restrictions. I would address that by saying, call the city of Charlotte and talk to the zoning department and tell them what you're going to create, what you're going to start, and give them your address, and they'll be able to tell you. I will say this though. I live in a very large housing development. They have an HOA. So you need to read your HOA guidelines and rules and regulations to see if they allow home-based businesses in their development. Difficulty financing, that's self-evident. And of course, family distractions. Like right now, my dog's sitting over here beside me. Online business. This is very, very big right now. Again, just like starting a business from home, lower startup costs. There's more growing acceptance of going online to purchase your products. My own personal opinion is I try to buy from local businesses that are, and from local businesses here, instead of the large conglomerates that we see all over the place. And your geographic reach is worldwide. It truly is. I have a mentee that is actually starting a spice. She's gonna sell spices that she's going to inventory in her house, and she gets her spices from India, and she has a whole process that she's gone through so that they will deliver the packaged spices to her house, and then she sells them online, and she has to market herself so that people know that she has an online business, but that's what she's doing. And again, there's a lot of flexibility for doing online. Low barriers to entry, more competition. Well, it depends on what type of small business you start. You will find out if that's true or not. Consumers have a higher expectations and are less tolerant of problems. I think that's pretty much what says most online businesses today to begin with. And this is the fast one is pretty unique. If you work in a company, you have workmates, or if you have started your own business, you have customers that you deal with. Being an online business, there is no one you can go have a cup of coffee with. It's just yourself. Non-for-profits. Okay, if any of you are interested in non-for-profits, I specialize in doing non-for-profits. I'm mentoring probably three of them right now. They may qualify for government or founding grants. That's absolutely true. It's one of the sources of funding for non-for-profits. However, you got to be experienced and looking for those grants or government funding. Most of my non-for-profits who do this hire a third-party vendor to do this. Protection from liability for directors and employees, of course. If you start a non-for-profit, a non-for-profit is designated by its unique tax certification. You see, it's a 501c3. and you have to have a board of directors. And one of the things that a government entity will probably tell you that you need to have errors and omission insurance for your directors. Now, and it's also a good idea to have liability insurance for your employees. Can pay salaries to employees or consulting fees to contractors, of course. One of the myths that people think about when they say, I want to start a nonprofit, is they can't pay themselves a profit. That's incorrect. You pay yourself any kind of salary that you deem necessary if your non-for-profit can afford it. Most non-for-profits, if you look around, are focused on social services types of organizations, educational, charitable, and such as that. All profits remain within the organizations. That's correct. At the end of the day, when you do your taxes at the end of the year, your net result should be zero. Every expense should be canceled out by the revenue that you bring in. Now, it does take time, and it does probably take some legal advice to apply for and receive your 501c3. This is an IRS designation. That's the one who gives it. Okay, let's jump into what it is. So this is a typical company, you might say. You have the CEO, the administrator, then you have the operations, accounting, human resources, marketing, and then you have the IT, technology and facilities. When you begin, you're going to wear as many of these hats as you deem necessary to start your business. Most definitely, you're going to be the CEO. As a CEO, you will do all the administrative. You also be the salesperson that's going to sell your product or services. You also will head up marketing. You will determine what kind of marketing. I don't think you're going to have any HR. Accounting, you'll probably do your own books through QuickBooks or something like that. You are customer service, just like you are sales. You are customer service. Product and production fulfillment in the very beginning, you will also do that if you are selling a product that needs to be shipped out. The technology will depend upon your degree of understanding of what kind of technology you need to start your business. And facilities, whatever it is. Are you working out of your house? Are you renting the storefront? Do you have a small warehouse? Are you working out of your truck? That's up to you. Branding. Branding is a slow evolution. If you start your business right now, unless you bought a name recognition franchise, if you start your business right now, no one's going to know who you are. So you need to announce to the world through your marketing program and processes who you are, what you do. What that'll do is over time, once you develop a customer base and they start to become a loyal customer base, then you start to develop name recognition. When you drive out and around, look at all the vans and the names of their companies on the side of the vans. That's why they do it. They want everybody to see who they are, what they do, and how to get a hold of them. Market identity. If you're in a specific market, your name recognition will help you tremendous with identifying where your market is. Branding also entails advertising. Advertising is a huge swath of information to take in, and you need to determine what's the most effective advertising for your particular company. In the beginning, you may have $0 to do advertising. So your advertising is you talking about your business. If you did a business plan, which we'll talk about, in there you will target a specific audience. Who is your consumer? I talk to my mentees by tell me who your customer is, describe it. And in their process of describing who their customer is, they get to understand what type of market they're going to go after. So marketing, strategies used to create and desire promotes your image, your product. I'm not going to spend much time on marketing. We know what it is. We know we have to do it. This simple steps. This simple steps is just about the basics, as it says. We have a simple steps 3 that's marketing and marketing plan, and it's here that I'm going to interject a additional idea to understand what you want to do more. Go to our website, score.org, and under resources, you'll see a pull down menu and you'll see one that says webinars. By clicking on that, you can type in the type of webinar that you want to view. And believe me, there's hundreds of webinars. If you want to understand how to develop a marketing plan, how to execute a marketing plan, is your marketing plan effective? They have webinars in score.org that will help you with this. Sales. I'm very familiar with sales because I did that most of my life. You all are going to have to understand what kind of sales you're going to have to do to start your business. Every business has a sales component to it. Even if you're not let's take a non-for-profit. They're not selling a product, but they need funding. And in order to get funding, the non-for-profit has to reach out to specific people to tell their story. And by telling their story, they hopefully answers their donors' needs. That's a sales process. It's a basic sales process. All right. I talked earlier about starting a business while you work. It is a very it's a very large commitment to start your business while you work. So if you want to reflect before you start your business, very honestly, if you went back to that table of management that I showed you, you need to ask yourself, what areas am I strong in? What areas am I weak in? I might be strong in administrative and in operations, but I'm really weak in sales. So understand that. That's very, very important and useful information to you. And therefore, can you take a course to improve your skills? Absolutely. That's why I pointed out the score.org. So if you think that there are portions of your new business that you are not capable of doing, then you need to find someone to help you, whether that's a contractor, whether that's a partner, whether that's getting the help online, any one of those. If you're skilled in all these roles, you won't have time to handle them all. So yeah, you have to prioritize. That's basically what this means. You will have to do all the roles, but at the beginning of each day, when you are setting out your list of things that you need to accomplish that day, prioritization is important, and you prioritize that according to what is most important to continue the operation of your business. There's a cute story. I'll tell this. As I said, I was in institutional sales, and I sold extremely expensive security systems to companies with $100 million or less in annual sales. So I was very, very busy. And every day when I wrote my list up, I'd have a list of 50, 60 things I got to do. I only had time to do 20 of them. So I had to prioritize which is most important to move forward my role to sell. Other critical factors. The price of your product, the business location, if you're going for brick and mortar, absolutely. Your location ideally sets the tone of your business. You don't want to locate your heating and cooling company in the middle of my development. That's a very gross example, but that's kind of what I'm saying. Okay, so understand your competition. I talk a lot about competition to my mentees because it's very important for a couple of factors, and I'm just going to tell you 2 or 3 of them. One, know your competition. By knowing your competition, you go to their website, you look at their website, you understand what they're doing. Hopefully, you might even get pricing. So if you have your competition pricing, then you can set your own pricing according to what they are charging. And it's your decision as to where you set your pricing. The other thing about competition is you can learn from them. If you're starting the business out, there's probably holes in your operations that you just never done before. By going to your competition and investigating critically, you might be able to fill those holes. Here's a third thing that people really don't talk about, but I think is very, very true. Call them up. And if you feel that the conversation is comfortable, tell them what you're doing. I'm starting a business, and this is what I'm doing, just like you. And you might be able to establish a very good relationship with that particular competitor, because if y'all believe that there's so much business out there, there's humongous amount of business out there. No one needs to feel that you're taking business away from me. That's a philosophy that I really tell my mentees a lot. So understanding and getting to know your competition will be beneficial to you in starting your business. Okay. Now we're going to talk about the forms of ownership, forms of businesses. What legal entity are you going to use? The most simplest is sole proprietorship or partnership. Sole proprietorship. This is where you start your own business, whatever it is. You put all your documents about your business in your name. When you do your taxes, you will declare any income or expenses on your own personal income tax. The other one is a partnership. Partnership is the same as a sole proprietorship in the respects that it's just you and your partner. Beware of partnerships. Maybe we have all seen them, but I understand that when you go into partnership with someone else, you really need to get it in detailed writing as much as possible. That's to protect both partners or three partners or however. Now, most of my mentees are an LLC because the LLC does one thing that the sole proprietorship and partnerships do not do. They protect you if you get into any liable confrontation with vendors, customers, whatever. If you are sued as a business, if you are LLC, the people suing you can only come after the assets of your LLC. If you're a sole proprietorship or partnership, they can come after your personal assets, your home, your car, your second home. So it does cost to establish an LLC. The simplest way, if you have a good mind, is to call the state of North Carolina and go to their, I forget what department it is. I'm sorry, I forget. But they will tell you how to do it. If you Google this online, some of my mentees have actually found a third-party vendor online that can assist you in walking you through the LLC. The C Corp and the S Corp, I tell my mentees, if you start your business and you get it going and you start to have really, really good income, revenue, and start to have employees, talk to your attorney, talk to your tax accountant. Is it tax advantageous for me to go into a C Corp or S Corp? So what I'm basically saying is, for all of us who's just starting a business, the C Corp or S Corp is when you get a lot larger. Keep it simple. Sole proprietorship. It's simple as possible. If a liability taxation is concerned, an LLC is. So we talked about that. Government regulations. You must be aware. Whatever business you start, is this business need to be registered with some government entity? Does it need a license? Do you need certification to do this business? And of course, the IRS and taxes. You have to pay your taxes. Insurance considerations. When I get a brand new mentee, I ask them, in the very beginning with our first conversations, I ask them a series of questions just so that I understand where they're coming from and I understand what I'm dealing with. And one of those questions is insurance. If you are starting a business already, I'll ask you, do you have insurance? And everybody usually says yes. So what kind of insurance? It all depends on what you feel you need to cover in your insurance considerations. I can't tell you, your insurance agent can, but these are the different types of insurance that you can get in starting your business. Okay, let's go to business plans. Business plans. Business plans is a really big part of my mentoring process with my mentees, especially people starting out, because it's a very important document for you to have. And my simple reason is that you have the idea of what your business should be in your head right now. The passion that you have to start your business is in your head right now. What you're going to do, you probably even see your business into the future is in your head right now, or you might have taken notes, whatever. A business plan is a formalized document that you set down the basic components of your business. What this does is by writing it down, it clarifies your thinking in your head, and it raises questions that might need to be answered to continue on with doing your business plan. Once your business plan is done, it should act as a guide. Review your business plan whenever on a normal basis. Some businesses do it every year. I say it acts as a guide to show that you're keeping on the straight and true of your business. The other thing, if you're looking for any kind of financial help, be it a commercial loan, being a partner, being a grant, being a government funding, any of those, the first question they're going to ask is, send me your business plan. So here, the table of contents. SCORE actually has a very good business plan template that I send out to all my mentees. So this is the base. These are the components of the business plan. This is what we talked. This is what I talked about briefly. Have a commercial account at a bank. Develop a relationship with them. A lawyer. I say in the very beginning, you don't need to start paying for a lawyer. You just need to know that, hey, I know someone that's a lawyer that I can call if I need advice. I understand that if I call, I'll pay, but still I have them in my, okay, here's an old word, my Rolodex. Also an accountant, an insurance agent, and a business mentor. That's us. That's us at SCORE, a business mentor. Small business readiness and self-assessment. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to go through a quick self-assessment here. I'm going to show you a series of questions. So we do have a library content, but I want to show these. Sorry. I want to show these questions first. This is a point from 1 to 10. Answer these. You can take a screenshot of this. Let me introduce. Let me see here. Yes. I think at this time, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that I can get back to. There we go. And there we go. We're all back. Okay. I'm going to introduce Christine. If you want to take it over, Christine, it's all yours.
Before Christy, real quick, thank you very much, Eric. Just wanted to ask our audience if there's any questions. Eric, you saw the questions in the chat. Any other questions from folks before we move on to Christy and the library presentation?
I'm reading the questions right now, Joe. Wow, there's a lot. I'm Joe. I'm researching the vending and cash based. Okay. These are just people talking about what their business ideas. And my own therapeutic private practice. Very good. Very good. That's needed. Um, I'm in the process of starting my own photography and videographic. I coached some people last year that did that. I want to remodel single family homes. That's a great idea. I want to learn about starting my own business. Betty, if you're still on board, ask for a mentor from SCORE. If you have a business idea, the mentors will help you walk you through the process of starting that idea. We can't help you with the idea. You need to figure out the idea yourself. I can see the screenshots. Recording. Thank you for being subscribed. Is anyone having questions? What if you are weak in one area but don't have the funding to hire someone else? Very good. That's a very good question. I get this too. That means you're probably going to have to learn it. And you're probably going to have to learn that role. Learn that role through talking to other small businesses that might be doing what you're doing. Learn that role by talking to your friends. Learn that role by Googling or YouTube. Hang on a sec. I'm jumping around here. Angel investors. Yeah, I'm gonna briefly. That would be a more deeper discussion if you were in a mentor-mentee relationship. We do talk, and I assume that you're looking for some startup capital. So that's left. I don't really want to address that right now because that's a very deep, complicated answer. Just yeah, work through it if you can. Talk to people that you know, or a mentor might be able to help you. Did you say the LLC can protect homes and other assets? Is there a way to have your identity protection in an LLC? I'm not going to give you a clear-cut answer on that. I would suggest that if you want to answer for that, call an attorney or even Google that LLC. Now, that said, the idea of an LLC is to protect your assets. We'll leave it at that. Is there any way to have your identity protection as an LLC? Interesting. I've never had anybody ask that before. I'm sorry, I don't have an answer at all. Could a business mentor be beneficial for my private practice? I already have a clinical mentor. However, yes, it's a very good point. And that I did not point out in my slide deck. When I talk to my mentors, I always say, you have a passion for your business. You understand what your business is. You want your business to go forward. It's ongoing. However, you're also the CEO. You need to be very clear on the operation of your business. Those are two separate paths, but they're merged because it's your business. So in answer to your question, and someone put, I'm sorry. However, I don't have one for business ownership. As Joe said, we're free. If you think what we're saying today is of benefit to Ebony, please go on our SCORE website and ask for a mentor. That's why we're here, just for that.
And to add to that last question Matt, we have an intake group that looks at each individual application, and they're trying to match a mentor as best as possible, someone with a similar industry background, or functional background. So if you're looking for, if you need some help on the finance side, you might get a mentor with a financial background. But a lot of us have been business owners, so we can speak to a variety of different topics and get started. So your first call with a mentor will be in more of an introductory call, just to kind of learn about your business, who you are, what you're trying to accomplish, etc. And when there's a case when it's very specific and very technical, or excuse me, specialized area, excuse me, then we could find maybe a co-mentor, somebody else who has a very specific background. Okay.
What Joe just said is good for Lee's is good for Ebony, your question, and also Lee. Mentors would really help. Yes. Oh, I recently registered my C Corp for my new startup. I am looking for mentoring and guidance. Please, Joe and I are here. Go to score.org and get a mentor to assist you.
Awesome.
Okay, I think that's all the.
Good, Eric. I'll pass you on to, again, thank you, Christy, for being here today. And let me turn it over to Christy and her presentation on the Charlotte Mecklenburg Library System. And in about a half hour or so, I'll come back and wrap up with a couple of quick instructions for all of you. Thank you.
Yeah, I just need to have share turned on for me.
Oh. How do I do that? I'm sorry, Joe. Can you help?
Yeah, you should click on if you click on the three dots next to my name, there should be a way to make me away from you to give me permission to share.
Three dots next to your name. I don't see three dots.
I think you have to rest your mouse on there.
I made you host, so you should be able to do it right now.
Okay, or
cool.
either host or co-host,
Thanks,
I think will allow me to share.
Yeah. Why don't you try it now? It should work.
Okay, let me see. Hip hip hooray! There we go.
Good.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to share the resources that are available at Charlotte Mecklenburg Library. But I know some of you might be coming to us from outside of Charlotte Mecklenburg Library, so I'm going to highlight resources that you can also access at your library if you are at any public library system within the state of North Carolina. So I'm going to highlight the differences between both of those as I go through this presentation. And then if you decide at some point the exclusive library resources that we have here at Charlotte Mecklenburg Library would be of benefit to you, then I'll show you how you can get an out-of-county library card for a very small fee. All right, so getting started, why should you have a library card if you are in business? Well, the library has resources to fill the data you can use with those gaps in your business plan. And since you are a property tax payer, you have already paid for it. So we're going to use an example of a pet business to go through our library databases so you can see how that could correlate with your business plan. So if I was a pet supply store and I was going to open up one, hands up, this is a market survey if you want to know who has a pet. And the way I could find that is through Dun & Bradstreet industry profiles, so I could get an idea of what's out there. 70% of households in the United States have at least one pet, so that's a very good market. And how would I find that? Well, the Dun & Bradstreet industry profiles are available through a resource we have called the ABI Inform Collection. And in that, you could go right to those profiles and pull this up, which is a great way to fill out your business plan. But that's only part of what you need. Also, you need to know who your clients are and who your competitors are so you know where to put your business. And a great tool to use that is, or to find that out, is a tool called Data Axle. I should mention that ABI Inform is available through NC Live, so it's available through any public library within the state of North Carolina, or also any of our public universities as well. So if you have a public library card at your local library, you will be able to access that. Same for Data Axle. It also comes to us through NC Live. And with this, I'm showing here a sample search of businesses that are exclusively in Mecklenburg County that are already selling supplies. So I have a list here of who's my competitors are and where they're located. And to go along with that, I can also pull up a heat map within Mecklenburg County and I can see where they are. But I can also target on the areas that do not have a pet supply store. So there are, even with 269 businesses in the area that sell pet supplies, there's still gaps. So there's a space for you, which is nice. Along with that, you need to know not only where your competitors are, you also need to know where your customers are that want to buy your product. And the way you do that is through a resource called Simply Analytics. It will allow you to zero in on those particular areas where you will get the highest, the folks that purchase the most for their pets. So you could correlate that with, where your competitors are not, and you have a good location for a business. This thing's pretty powerful. You could go in and zero in even by census tract, which is what this is showing you. That's even more zeroed in than using zip code. You can, when you go in and you use Simply Analytics, when you log in the first time, it'll give you a basic tutorial. Don't worry, you're going to get a info packet at the end from me, and I'll give you all the tip sheets and everything with how to use the resources and everything. You'll also get a copy of these slides. So don't panic. Don't worry about writing down anything. You're going to get those resources at the end. But when you log in the first time, it's going to give you a basic tutorial with how to use it and walk you through step by step. If you log in as a guest, your searches are not saved, but if you just want to go in and play around with it, you can. But if you want to save your work and pick up where you left off, you do have to create an account with it, but there's no charge or anything. That's just something outside of your library card. And this is a Charlotte Mecklenburg Library exclusive product. So if this is of benefit to you to zero in on those demographics, then that's something to consider. If you don't have that access to that, similar resources that are available through NC Live would be the Social Explorer and also the State Data Center, but they're not going to have the computing power of this resource. Their demographics are going to be a little bit more general. So what does this mean? It means if I was a potential pet supply business that generates $500 million in sales, 70% of households in Mecklenburg County have a pet. I know there's over almost 300 competitors, but there's still space within the county for my business. And evenly spread out, that's over $1 million per competitor. Over 1,000 households per competitor. And I can even get a list of businesses through Data Axle nearby to invite to my grand opening when it comes up. So here you can see side by side the place where there could be a empty space where there's not a business. Here on the right, that's your Data Axle heat map. And on your left, you've got the demographic census tract that shows where the people are that would most likely like to purchase things from your pet supply store. So if there's not one nearby them, they're going to be happy to see you. Beyond that, you could even zero in and continue to add more details in your search when you use Simply Analytics. You can do things like focus on different age groups maybe you're trying to reach. What are their educational backgrounds? How high of a education did they receive? What's their race, their language? All of that might help you determine what kind of social media platforms to advertise on, and the best way to reach your customers. So beyond that, now that you know where your customers are and who your competitors are, you have a good idea for where to place your business, what are you going to say? Well, resources you could use for that. There's two really nice ones for articles. You could use quotes from existing articles to boost your authority on social media postings, such as articles. There's two really nice federated search databases. The first one's EBSCO's Master File Premier, and the other one from ProQuest is called ProQuest Central. And you can really zero in on those. This particular search is looking for pets and mental health and how it helps pet owners over time. And you can accentuate that link there. Now, so far as you want to have an eye on what your local economy is like and local news in your area. Each local library is going to invest in their local news resources. We don't all buy the resources for everybody throughout the state. That's just not efficient. So, but we have a vested interest in purchasing the local media for our local resources. So for us here in Charlotte, that would be we're going to have the database and the archives for the Charlotte Observer and having access to that available digitally, as well as the Charlotte Business Journal. If you were in the Raleigh area, you would have the Raleigh Business Journal, etc. So each library is going to be purchasing their local news and local business resources for their area. So these two would be exclusive to our library, but if you went to another library, you're going to see, if I was in Raleigh, the Raleigh News and Observer. Now, we do have news databases that would access those others, but you may not have as robust of a search tool on those. If you were accessing it from ours, we would have the most robust on our local ones. Beyond that, continue to learn and stay nimble. Always good to continue to improve. I know one person said there were certain things about owning a business they did not know. Well, we have resources that will help you put on a positive hat if you need to learn something, whether that's brushing up on marketing or basic entrepreneurship, bookkeeping, management, sales. These resources are really nice. One's called LinkedIn Learning. It's really nice to go in and do video tutorials and guided training on specific things. That's available. That's a Charlotte Mecklenburg Library exclusive resource. Another one that's exclusive to us is Universal Class. I like Universal Class because they're really nice step-by-step courses that you could go through self-paced on things like entrepreneurship, career assistance, technology. And the nice thing about it is that you could also get CE credits for it if you were doing something for classes where you wanted to take maybe some continuing education credits. You'd have to contact a school you were working with. But if you're just wanting to brush up on those courses without trying to get college credit for it and just improve your business, then you can even audit those classes and just learn on your own pace without having to complete it within a 3-month time period. Which is what I like to do if I'm just going to brush up on something and I could take care of it when I have the time. Something else that's really nice here, especially if you're dealing with technology, this is me geeking out a little bit. We just got this resource about 2 years ago. It's called O'Reilly for Public Libraries. So if you deal with any sort of coding or something like that, where you are doing things like that for your business, that's an entire digital library of always available digital ebook and video resources for any kind of technology resource that will require code. So whether you're doing everything from HTML to Python and everything in between, there are guides and tutorials on how to use it there. And it's always available. You don't check those items out, but you can go in and access those resources at any time with your library card. And that's a Charlotte Mecklenburg Library exclusive resource. If you don't have access to these resources, another really nice general resource that's available to anybody, you don't even need a library card for it, is a resource you can research called online called GCF Learn Free. And they have a really nice bank of resources for things like Microsoft Office basics, basic web navigation, finance basics. There's all sorts of really nice step-by-step courses that are similar to Universal Class, but there's not the bottleneck of having a library card. It's freely available out there if you just Googled it for training. And we use it a lot for folks that maybe getting a library card is a barrier. So it's a really nice alternative resource to have. Beyond that, if you're looking for individual customers, sometimes it's better to find out where certain groups hang out that you could market your business to. So we have things like the Encyclopedia of Associations, that's available to us through the Gale Directory Library. So here you could zero in on certain organizations. Maybe there's some specialty pet organizations that might like to come in and use your business as a way to network. Maybe there's a special dog rescue society that focuses on a particular breed or something. Well, you could find out who those are in the Encyclopedia of Associations. And the Gale Directory Library is really nice for that. I'm always surprised with who I find in there, sometimes unexpectedly. So it's worth checking out just to see what's there. That Gale Directory Library is that's a Charlotte Mecklenburg Library exclusive resource as well. So again, you can start to see the value of the things that we have here. If you decide that you want to get an out-of-county library card with Charlotte Mecklenburg Library, it's $45 per year per household, not just an individual. So anybody in your household could use that library card to access these databases remotely. You wouldn't have to drive hundreds of miles to access it. It's right there instantly available through your computer. So it might be worth it. I just showed one gentleman just the resources in Data Axle, and he told me that I had just saved his business $10,000 because he wouldn't have been able to do that himself or purchase that database himself. But the power of the library is it's always available to him. So that shows you how the value of this. Beyond that, we also have a way where you could go in and do an individual session with one of us. It's available online. So if you go to our library's website, you can look for one-on-one sessions like this. And a lot of these are online. You can see this particular sessions online. So even if you're not within the library system, you can get these one-on-one sessions, and you don't need a library card for these. We just, all you need is an email so we can send you the Zoom link. Beyond that, well, it's a library. We've got business books, audiobooks, downloadable ebooks. So I was going to talk more about it beyond just what you see here. So this is where I get to have a little fun and go off script and talk about some of my favorite resources that I like to use. So I'm going to stop the share on the slides, and I'm going to share some really nice resources that are available. Again, if you decide that you want to get a Charlotte Mecklenburg Library card, it's just cmlibrary.org/get-a-card. And if you're outside the library system, if you go down a little bit, it shows you what a non-resident card is. If you do not live or currently own property in Mecklenburg County, or you're not a student in Mecklenburg County, again, it's $45 a year per household. If you're a senior, 62 and older, it's $35 a year. So well worth it, I think, for a small business. But some of my favorites are a really nice business plan building tool that I like to use. It's available through NC Live. NC Live you could just access through nclive.org. Then you would choose your local library. You would say which one you're coming from, and then you get access to all of these resources that are available here. And the one I'm going to show you that's really nice is called Gale eBooks. So I'm going to click on G for a moment. And when I click on Gale eBooks, if you're clicking on it remotely, this is where you would be prompted for your library card. But since I'm accessing it inside the library, you won't see that point. But what you want to come down to is if you click on the business ebooks, there's a really nice resource called the Business Plans Handbook. And this handbook is really nice. I remember back in the day, this used to be print and reference. So now it's all digitized and it's tremendously easier to search. So if I was wanting to see some sample business plans, these are business plans from all over North America. These are business plans that are taken from actual businesses anywhere in North America. So I could go in and I could search within the entire series for pets and see what kinds of business plans pop up. There's one for pet photography, a pet sitting service, a pet sanctuary, a pet sitting business. I'm just going to click on one here. So you can see the details, where that business is located, and it gives you their business plan and what they used whenever they went to build that for their business, and what services they offer. And it's all there. So if you're struggling to determine what kind, just having a template for your small business, this may give you an idea. You could email this to yourself. You could save it in the cloud on one of your cloud services that saves your work. You can download it. You can print it out. So it's all immediately available to you. Another resource that I like to use that's a lot of fun. It's a Charlotte Mecklenburg Library exclusive resource. From our Research and Learn tab, we have a bank of resources that are available through Libby. Libby is our ebook app vendor that we have. Let me come down here to Libby. You can install it as an app on your mobile device to access these resources, or you can use a web browser, either way. And Libby has we have an exclusive business collection with that. So if you go under collections and choose business, here's some recent things that we've just recently added, whether it's for, let's see here, best business books of the past year, to management options, entrepreneurship. And, the nice thing about ebooks is that when they expire, you can just re-request them again, and there's no overdue fines. And they just instantly, when they expire from your account, then you can just recheck them out again. So that's the nice thing about having that collection available. Let's see here. Was there anyone that was a nonprofit that was available, that was within this group? I could not remember if there was.
I don't think so, Kirsty. I don't
Okay. All right. I was going to review some of the nonprofit stuff if there was, but if not, that's okay. I'll skip that since there's not any nonprofits here. We do have a really nice research database called the Foundation Directory Online Professional. It's an in-house use only resource, but it's certainly it's available to anybody who can come to. Usually, other libraries within the state have it, but you have to go to their main location. We're fortunate that you can access it at all of our locations within Mecklenburg County. But beyond that, I hope that there's some services here that might make you consider getting an out-of-county library card. So it's certainly worthwhile. But again, I hope that these resources will help you. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and share the info packet so that you have what I covered here today, including a copy of the slides I had, plus all the resources that I mentioned. So I'm going to include that there in the chat window if you want to copy that and save it for later. And did anybody have any other questions for me?
Thank you, Christy. I'm looking for questions in the chat. I don't see anyone. You got some nice props here from people that they were amazed at the types of resources that the library.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing what we have here. It's not just what you see on the shelf in the library. I mean, what we do now is it doesn't matter where the information is or what kind of container it's in. We're going to help you get to it. So, and the thing about library exclusive resources versus open internet is the internet's, a mile wide but an inch deep sometimes. And sometimes to get to those really good meat and potatoes resources, you have to invest in them. And that's what we do. For every dollar that's invested in the library, you get at least three back through stuff like this.
Awesome. Christy, thank you very much
You
for
bet.
your generous amount of time and expertise. I thought it was very helpful as always. So thank you for joining us today. Eric, I'm going to give it back to you. You want to wrap it up, and
Yeah.
we'll also handle any last questions from folks who are coming in. We have
Okay.
another 15 minutes, but I don't think we're going to need all that time.
Now we might be able to give some time back to our people's lives.
Awesome.
Christy, thank you so much. This is not the
Sure.
first time I've heard you. Every
Aw.
time it's
I thought I
always,
recognized you there.
yeah, it's a bundle of information.
It's a
Um,
lot to take in. I know. That's why I always do the info packet at the end. It's just a lot to digest.
yeah, yeah. I want to thank everybody that's attended Simple Steps today. So this is the first number one, and if you remember in the slide deck that there's 2 other Simple Steps that you can sign up for. The other thing I want to keep emphasizing is that Joe and I are here to mentor you guys. If you think or feel that you're at a place in your development of your small business where business mentoring might help you a lot to guide you towards the success that you expect, please reach out to us at score.org. And there's a big old button right on the homepage that says, find me a mentor. Other than that, I think we've said a lot today. I want to thank everybody for being here. It's 1:43. I'm as complete as I feel I want to be. Christy's finished. Joe, how about you?
Let me just wrap up, Eric. Thank you again.
Yeah, go ahead.
For all you attendees, again, as a reminder, you are getting the presentation tomorrow. I think you can find also a recording online. And also there is a couple of other courses. There is a Simple Steps 2 and 3. One focuses on marketing, one on finance, and goes in a lot more depth than today. I think Eric just kind of scratched on the surface, giving you a little bit of an overview, but we do have a couple of sessions that provide a lot more in depth, and give you an opportunity to, you learn a lot more about, financial reports and also on the marketing side, a lot of good marketing, working with your target audience and coming up with a good marketing plan. So look at that as well. And part of the presentation that you're going to get has a little self-assessment. I think Eric, you referred to it quickly. Self-assessment has 10 questions, gives you sort of an opportunity to look at your own business idea or your business already in place, and kind of take a hard look and seeing where do you have some holes, right? Because I mean, part of building a small business, there'll always be holes because you're going to be managing a lot of different aspects of the business. And by doing the assessment, you figure out, hey, where do you have some holes? Where do you need maybe some advice? Where do you need some mentoring? So it's a great jumping off point when you start your relationship with a mentor to say, hey, I've done this, and based on that, I'm a little bit weak on the marketing side or this side, etc. That's going to help us fine tune your program and also guide you as far as what other resources are out there to help you get started or to be successful in your ventures. So take a look at that. It doesn't take long. And then, of course, again, as we mentioned a couple of times, feel free to reach out to score.org and find the mentor button and get acquainted with our organization, and hopefully we can be of help. So thank you again for joining us today. Have a great rest of the day. And Eric and Christy, again, thank you for your hard work today. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.
Everybody, goodbye.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.